my name is Dina. Today I'm going to show you how to set up a crystal grid. A crystal grid is a combination of crystals set up in a specific pattern to support a particular purpose. The purpose of today's grid is to hold space for an upcoming Reiki 1 certification class that I'm about to teach in a few hours. The first thing I do when preparing a crystal grid is choose my crystals. So here are the crystals that I have chosen for tonight. As I mentioned earlier, I will be setting up a grid for a Reiki 1 certification course. Each class, even though we cover similar topics, is unique because the attendees of each class are unique. And so the energy is different. Before I select my crystals, I tune into myself. I sit quietly for a few moments, and then I go over to my cabinet where I store my crystals, and I pull them out based on what feels right. Because this is Reiki certification, here I have the picture of the 3 people who are responsible for bringing Reiki to the West. Also, when setting up a grid, if possible, I like to have some fresh flowers. These are roses from my garden. They're a few days old, so you can see the pink one is a little bit wilted, but I think they're beautiful, so I would like to keep them. What you see in the back here is a permanent grid that I have set up in my home, and it just kind of holds space for my home. It has an amethyst, a malachite, a meteorite, and several others. But back to the grid that I'm going to build. Tonight's energy feels very stellar to me. And this is why I have chosen moonstone, which is here, white moonstone, black moonstone, and also labradorite for their energy. Different people build grids differently. I like my grid to have a center, and then I like it to have the edges. So on the edges, I'm going to put the labradorites and then the moonstones. You can start building your grid from the center or from the sides. It doesn't really matter. Here's the moonstone. The next thing that I'm going to put in is my center. In the center, I have this box, which is rhodonite. Rhodonite is a heart crystal. And on top of it, I'm going to put a citrine. Citrine is a very powerful crystal. This is a natural citrine. It's not heat treated. And I picked this shape specifically. I'm going to use this citrine in the center as a beacon or as an antenna to collect the energy from the crystal surrounding it and send it out. It feels to me like the energy of this specific class will be very much heart-centered as well. So here I have malachite with azurite and Master Love Crystal, rose quartz, that I will place on the sides. I'm also going to place a smoky Lemurian quartz. Let me turn it this way so you can see the baby. And I like to place these quartzes on the edges like this so that they send the energy moving. And here is another quartz. And finally, I'm going to include Kambaba jasper. Kambaba jasper is also a heart chakra crystal. And even though you can see here, it's not geometrically balanced, feels pretty good. but it feels like something needs to be moved. So I'm going to move this one, and I'll put Kambaba Jasper on the side. And then my Malachite and Azurite, it feels like it needs to go right next to my center, like this. Looks pretty good, but it's still a little bit off, and I know what's off, and that is these side quartz crystals need to be moved. So I will put one here, and then I will move this one to here. Shift a little bit. Okay, now it looks pretty good and balanced. One last thing, let me adjust this a little bit, that I like to have specifically for Reiki grids is I'd like to introduce some light, both energetically and physically. So here I have 2 selenite candle holders that I'm going to put right above my grid. What you see here, this thing, it's a fossil. It's a fossilized tree. It used to be a tree. Part of it is to protect my table so that the heat doesn't go to the table, but part of it is to ground the energy. Fossils are grounding, and here I have a lot of high vibrational crystals, my moonstone, my labradorite, and so I want my energy to be grounded. So that's why I like to use fossilized wood. So I'm going to zoom out so you can see the entire grid. And the big rose quartz that you see in your upper left corner, that's always on my table as well. And to the right, you also see a little bit of a grid that I have always going for my home. And there's a funny story with that grid that I'll cover in another video. Thank you for watching, and take a look at my website at dinakleiman.com for more information about crystals, Reiki, energy healing, hypnotherapy, and life in general. Thank you.